you believe it? It's been a year with this G87 M2. It's been an amazing car. So in this one, I wanted to do a 1-year update on the ownership by going over 5 things I like about it and 5 things I don't like about it. First, obviously the looks. I know it's a controversial piece, but for me, it's the main reason why I got the car. When I saw the initial designs of it, at first I was a bit torn, but then the more and more I looked at it, the more and more I was starting to like it. And I was like, okay, let's do this. This is going to be a one-of-a-kind BMW. It's aggressive. And the fact that the color, Zandvoort Blue, was exclusive to the G87 M2 is another appealing thing as well. The other thing I like is the modern tech that you get with the car. It has all the latest gadgets, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all those things. And at first I wasn't a big fan of this sort of large LCD panel, but it's grown on me and I really like it. It's very clear, it's intuitive, it's easy to use. They've given you enough of the modern tech, but not too much. When I say too much, it's all those adaptive driving aid things that take away from the driving experience, but as a daily driver, you may want it. Because this is a manual, you couldn't do adaptive cruise control, and the car doesn't come with 360 camera view, although that's something that I appreciate. It doesn't have the all-wheel drive steering and all those crazy gadgets that you get in the top tier models of the cars. None of these all-wheel drive system that disengages the front axle and makes it pure rear-wheel drive. The tech is cool, but on a car like this, less is more, in my opinion. It just means less things to break down, less things to worry about as you own this car for a longer period of time. I'm in the world of tech as well, and so I appreciate technology for what they are. And BMW is delivered with that here. One of the cool things for me about the car are these bucket seats. These bucket seats are so damn cool, and they're foldable, and which allows you to get access to the rear seats. And that's really neat. You know, highly bolstered. It really hugs you when you get into the car. It kind of has this race car feel, but it's not a race car. It's usable on a day-to-day basis. You know, some would say these bolsters make it hard to get in and out. Yeah, it is. But, you know, if you finesse yourself, you can get in and out pretty easily. The buckets really made the car for me. I think it's a must-have. If you can swing it, if you are comfortable getting in and out of bucket seats, I think the bucket seats are the way to go. It'll hold value better, I think, over time. Not that something like this is going to really hold that much value like a GT car. You know, it's already dropping in value if you can see the markets today after a year, though it hasn't depreciated as much as some of the other 3 Series perhaps. By the way, you buy this car to enjoy it, not really worry about the depreciation, just drive it, add the kilometers, take it wherever you need to go to. The other thing I like about this M2 is the practicality aspect of it. Yeah, the back seats are a little difficult to get in and out of, but for my kid or my wife or for me, getting in and out isn't so bad. Yeah, you gotta have some hip mobility and flexibility to get in and out of this thing, but it's usable. But as a daily driver, where I can take my family around to various places and still look cool, this car just delivers in all those aspects. Now, comparing it to the Audi RS5 before, which I've owned for many years, the Audi was much easier to get in and out of the back seats. This is a little bit tighter, feels smaller in the back as well. Now, the other thing I really enjoy and like about this car is the driving engagement and the performance that it offers for the amount of money it is. So from that perspective, I think it's great value. 400 horsepower with a 6-speed manual rear-wheel drive, I think is such a great recipe for fun. At first, I bought the car telling myself that I'm gonna get rid of it after 6 months and get into something else. And the more and more I drove it, the more and more I started falling in love with it. So all in all, I love the driving experience in here. I know there's a bunch of reviews that complain about how the throttle response isn't as direct as you would like it, under full throttle and all that. But if you get a manual, forget all that. You're in full control. So You know, I've not seen any of that sort of sluggish throttle response. I mean, yes, if I'm in the wrong gear at the wrong time and I try to floor it, yeah, it's going to take a while for the turbos to kick in and give me power. But that's just, it's a matter of how you drive the car. So from that perspective, that's one of the big things that gravitated me to this car. The manual 6-speed, rear-wheel drive, 400 plus horsepower with bucket seats. Yeah, that's just like a slam dunk recipe for fun. Now, while we're in here, maybe we should touch on the dislike. One of the big things I don't like about the interior, it feels like the quality is not up there with Audi interiors or Porsche interiors. Interior is still super nice, don't get me wrong. Yeah, and that's fun. So yeah, in terms of interior, the quality after 1 year, you can start to hear a little bit of rattles here and there. The one rattle that's really bugging me recently is the seat belts area, where it goes to the B-pillar. You could kind of hear like a little ticking or a little rattle sounds that comes through, and I find that very annoying when we are on these long road trips and drives. Seems to go away when I just flip the seatbelt like that, but it's kind of a weird thing that you have to try and do. The other thing I don't like about the M2 is the fuel efficiency. I know you don't buy a car like this and worry about fuel efficiency. It's not an issue for me, but it was becoming hard to list all the negatives or things I don't like about the M2. So this kind of falls into that bucket, but it's something that I can live with. It's not a big issue, but for all you that may care about it, it may be an issue. So in terms of fuel efficiency, I'm getting on average, according to the app, about 11 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not a whole lot. So I find myself filling this up very frequently. In the city, not so good. On the highway, yeah, you can make it to Toronto on one tank of gas if you're liberal with your throttle application. But given that it's a manual, the way I drive it, I'm sitting a little bit on the happy end of the rev range. Yeah, I go through fuel like crazy. So I find even in the city, I find I am driving this a lot, and I'm filling it up quite a bit as well. The other thing I don't like about the G87 M2, or maybe all G80 or M cars in general, are the amount of brake dust that this thing creates. Out of the box from factory, man, black wheels will get coated up in this sort of bronze layer of brake dust, and it was pretty bad. You know, you go out for a 10-minute drive and you come back and it's caked up in brake dust. But it is something that you can fix easily. I've been running these EBC Reds since maybe 5 months into ownership, and it's been super amazing. The amount of brake dust it's reduced, it's unreal. So as you can see, when I swipe onto it and bring it up, you see the amount of brake dust that's there. That's about three weeks of driving. I don't drive a whole lot. The few kilometers I drive to go get my kid and back and go to Cars and Coffee, get into work once in a while. This is the amount of brake dust after about 3 to 4 weeks. So if you're looking to reduce brake dust, EBC Reds are a great way to go. It's a nice cross between performance or braking performance and brake dust. There are ones that reduce the brake dust even further, but you compromise on the braking capability a little bit. The other thing I don't like about the G87 is the way it looks coming out of factory. You got to do a whole bunch of stuff to it to make it look really good. I don't totally understand why they wouldn't make it look good out of the box. I guess they're trying to appeal to the masses, make it affordable, or bring it to a certain price point by cutting various aspects of the design elements. By the way, when you get it, it's okay, it's cool looking, but it's not 100% where it could be. This is where you get those M Performance, Aero parts, and all that to finish off the car. I'm guessing the M2 CS is going to have a whole more aggressive look and stance, but even that, I'm guessing that we're going to have to finesse with it modify it and personalize it. I guess in a way, what is a negative is also a positive in the sense that it leaves room for third-party vendors to be able to modify or offer up parts that help you personalize your car. It's really cool. I'm rocking the Auto ID kit that totally transforms the car for me. The front end looks complete now, the side skirt, the rear diffuser, all that just comes together really nicely. If you're getting a G87 M2 and you are looking to personalize it a little bit, modify to your liking, take a look at Auto ID, use my code M2Thing for 5% off as well. The other thing I don't like about the G87 M2, again, this is the state it is out of factory, and that's to do with the ride height. I'm not sure what's going on with the M cars or BMWs or in general, maybe some of the Audis too, but the amount of wheel gap that's there, it looks like an off-roader. So I'm not totally sure why they do it that way, but it's an easy thing to fix. You get some height adjustable springs or regular springs for that matter, and you lower it. You don't have to slam it all the way so that it's unusable. You can, with the height adjustable springs, you have the ability to lower and raise it. So lower it to a point, you could still drive it. The way I've lowered it, I've been driving it in the winter. Granted, I don't drive it on snowstorms or anything like that, but you can have it a little bit higher than what I have on the car now and still be able to use it all season long. It doesn't have to be the off-roader look that comes out of factory. Definitely get those height adjustable springs. I'm running the Cobra height adjustable springs. It's a great compromise of ride quality and lowering. The stock wheels are great, but the offsets are crap. I had to put 15 mil and 18 mil spacers on the stock wheels to really push them out and stance them. It's aggressive. You could probably get by with 10 and 12 mil, but I wanted that stance. So makes me think like there's so much room to play with. Why not meet in the middle? I'm guessing that they're making room for M Performance parts and so on. I haven't tried out the M Performance wheels. They have a bunch of selections as well, but their M2 CS, which you've seen teased around quite a bit, that may have a much better fitment, and that's what they're probably playing this game of, yeah, we'll release something, but it's not going to be the greatest. Then we're going to upgrade it or release another version, which would be slightly better, and then they probably release another version, which will be the ultimate. This may be something that ties into the ergonomics or the intuitiveness of the controls and the displays. So when you start up, this is the view that it looks like. When I go to M2, let's say, open everything, I want to be in the spirited drive mode, the controls don't change or the display doesn't change, and I can't tie the display changes to the M2. So now I have to go to the M mode, go to sport, and that changes the display. I wish that change of display would be tied to the M2 button or the M1 button, and I can program it. I'm sure this is a software upgrade thing that they can do, but it just feels like a bit of a miss that they went this way, that this is super different and the controls for the display are separated from the M1 and M2 buttons. I'm thinking two different teams implemented it and they didn't have that integration done right. But I'm sure a software update can fix that. Although it does seem like Keys Motorsports has a solution for it, which I think I'm going to explore. I mean, even if you don't tie it to the M1, M2, at least remember the mode that I was in before I turned off the car. I have to go change this mode every single time I get into the car, and I like this display a little bit more than the other display. Overall, I think the G87 M2 is an amazing car. It's a bargain in terms of what you get. So much value for under 100K worth of a car. And I think it's a great car to own and drive through the various seasons that we have here in Canada or Ottawa. We got tons of snow. Summers like this, we're super warm. We get rain. This thing performs so well. Even though it's rear-wheel drive, it's been amazing. So for me, it has been a great ownership experience. Let me know what you all think in the comments as well. All you G87 owners, What has your experience been with the car? Let me know in the comments below. There you go. Those are the 5 things I like and 5 things I don't like after 1 year of ownership of this BMW M2. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.